Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons stream. Everything's a little odd today, so it's going to get cloudy and sunny, I'm sure, behind me. Back and forth, so the backlight is going to be more distracting than ever, usually, but it's really hot, but we're still getting strange rain here. And the rain's been really bad. There's like 150 deaths reported so far, so we had a couple of days of insane rain and flooding, and so followed the week after, 2 weeks after the big earthquake. So lots of fun with nature this summer. But we're here doing this, and I guess it's good. I'm pretty red-faced from all this heat, so I guess it's good that I'm in shadow. But we'll have to figure out how to get that balance. I think my camera just got reset as far as its settings, so I need to play with the lighting and stuff, and I won't do that live because I'm just a small thing in a corner, so I don't think it's that necessary. All right, and everything was a little crazy. My Twitch account was all out of whack, so I needed to reset that. I don't know what that was about, but a lot of things have been messed up recently, so there's that. And we'll try another convenience store segment sometime today, see how that goes, and let me know if you hate that distraction or if that's actually good from this long rambling conversation. Hopefully it is just a change of topic and it's a little bit more interesting, but we will be doing that again, I think. I mean, there's a endless supply of odd things at convenience stores here, so it's not like I have a lack of material. It's just I go in there and don't get very inspired because most of the stuff I don't want to eat. But I should buy and show off for you. And we can start doing a weekly lottery to win the snacks from the live stream. And I'll send them to you in a big box. Wow, a subscription box. Wow, what a novel idea that would be. Snacks from Japan in a subscription box. I don't think anyone has thought of that. But I'm drawing an apple. So I'll just kind of warming up, making sure my pen is paying attention and seeing how that's going. But so let's just keep doing that. I didn't have a big creative topic in mind, but I did have an interesting kind of, not interesting, but something about living abroad came up that I thought maybe interesting for someone that hasn't done it. So, if you have a country or a culture that that you like, or you have a lot of you enjoy their pop culture or food or something, and have thought about, wow, I wonder what would it... Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. You think, I wonder what it would be like to live there. I mean, right at the source, and everything is, so new, and you have the latest everything. And I think we don't realize about pop culture... The thing we don't realize about pop culture is that it's very filtered. And maybe it's less so now, because we have things, we have streaming services and things, and subscription snack boxes, things from the internet, and a lot of companies are becoming global companies, so we're getting access to some foreign foods and media and stuff that we maybe wouldn't have had before. But I was thinking just recently about anime, about Japanese wonderful animation, and how, like, when I was a university student, and if I would have thought of living in Japan, that would have been the first thing that I would have thought is, wow, all of that, directly, first time on television, directly, first time in the stores, animation. And that would be great, because in the time when I was a university student, we were still, anything I say is going to date me. So, but you were still getting, kind of bootleg VHS of Japanese laser discs for a lot of things. And going to comic book conventions, and there'd be sellers that it would just be all videotapes with, color laser printed, labels. And that was how you got a lot of anime, because there was no video on the internet, that you could actually download. There was no torrenting or anything like that. I think that was even that's pre whatever that was, the music, stealing service, the music sharing service that existed, Napster. That was even pre-Napster. So anime was very difficult to get a hold of, and kind of more rare and underground. I mean, everybody knew the stuff that they showed on television, the kind of heavily edited and dubbed stuff they showed for kids on TV, like Battle of the Planets and Star Blazers, and I'm trying to think, and Speed Racer, the English titles for all of those. And we didn't really have any idea that was Japanese, but then later you kind of find out where all of that stuff comes from. And like then university time, I think there's even like anime clubs and things at certain universities. I went to art school, so not a regular university, so not very clubby, but anyhow, there were the access to that was very limited. And so if you would have told me then, wow, I could have access, I could actually go to the country where all of this was being produced and have direct access to it, and not have to pay premium prices for 4th generation VHS. Wow, that would have been amazing. That would have been so exciting. And now, flash forward a few years and I don't think I've watched any new anime in years, because it's fairly unwatchable. It's very I don't know, it just like repeats itself. It's so formulaic, which I think was the one thing that appealed to me. I remember watching things like Voltron or Robotech, and the same, the structure of things and the same thing happening every episode was kind of, a little bit nicely predictable. And when you were just watching one episode a day, that was nice. But now we're in a different time where you can kind of binge things. And if you try to binge recent anime, it's just, ugh. And the characters, everything's so annoying, and you've seen all the characters before, and the voices are just terrible. There's very little innovation with what's going on. And I think part of that is, because just like a lot of things that's happened to a lot of popular culture, like Star Wars and things, it's fans of the original thing. So anime fans, like obsessive anime otaku, are now making anime. And so it's becoming this very inbred, very inside joke, it's formulaic for people that are really on the inside of it, and just less and less interesting to anybody that's not an obsessive fan. And I don't know why that is. It may be, they pay garbage, to their animators and producers to make these things. So maybe that's just part of it. Yeah, do whatever stupid thing you want, and just don't expect us to give you a decent paycheck. And there you go. They'll, kind of let people produce unwatchable nonsense. I don't know, but it's hard to believe that anybody is kind of approving any of that. I can probably just do that in color. Is approving any of that, and that it's just that there's even an audience for it. It's so strange. But so the point is that be careful what you wish for, kind of thinking, because there is no benefit or appeal for me living in Japan, having direct access to animation. And it's kind of like, I always thought when I was growing up, just because of what they played on PBS in America, that I was a big fan of British comedy. And then once we had the internet and you had more access to what is actually mainstream British comedy, most of it is garbage. I mean, beyond garbage. So I remember, like MTV played The Young Ones, and PBS played Monty Python and Fawlty Towers, and I was really you really enjoyed that, and so you make that assumption. Oh, all British comedy must be this well written and this irreverent and this interesting, and not true. So the same, I think the same holds true then with Japanese anime. You kind of get the best, or the thing that's kind of more culturally compatible to you, and isn't such a product of the local culture. So it's enjoyable, and just think about the big movies, Akira and Ghost in the Shell, and the big movies that made it over for theatrical releases to the U.S. I mean, those are major, amazing animated movies, and there's a lot of stuff that's just not very good, and a huge amount of stuff that's only for kids. I mean, they basically have like an annual Pokemon movie, an annual Doraemon movie, an annual Kamen Rider, or whatever is still the thing for kids. Every summer there will be a movie, and they're super formulaic. It's the same thing every time. And they're pretty emotional too. So it's funny for little kids. There's some pretty heartbreaking death scenes and things in these kids movies. So I'm a little surprised by that. Yeah. So we'll see. But so I'm going to try to finish up. So sorry, let me just okay, sorry, this is horrible, I know, but I gotta get through this. Okay. Boy, oh boy. A bunch of nothing is what's going on with me. All right. So anyhow, yeah. So I thought that was an interesting thing, something that you, before you experience a situation, oh, this is going to be the best part of it. I'm going to love this. And one of the things, just as a aside, another funny thing about animation that I found out here, and I'm not sure how recent of development this is, but a lot of animation, the first run, when it's shown on TV, of course, it's very censored and things because Japanese TV's gotten pretty conservative. But they also screen it. It also plays at 1:30, 2 a.m., 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning on weekday nights, on school nights. So it's not like a Saturday night thing or something. So, obsessive anime fans, if they're not time shifting with a DVR or something, they are staying up to watch these things, if they want to see, first run and whatever. I'm sure as the technology's changed, that's changed, but I remember hearing students say that's their time, that's their hobby time, that's their time, so after midnight. And so I guess the TV companies learned that, and they started screening these things at, early, the wee hours of the morning, and that's just crazy. I mean, that's so unhealthy, and it's so encouraging kids to just do the wrong thing, be so behind on their sleep, and just really, really sad. But I was very surprised to find that out. So that was kind of one of the things about what the reality of anime in Japan is, and also the on Blu-ray and DVD, anime is insanely expensive if you buy the Japanese releases, the box sets and things. They're nice, like the individual volumes and things. They're very nicely produced, but they're insanely expensive. I mean, you're talking about $80 a disc, in some cases, and box sets are hundreds of dollars. If you want to get a season run of something, it can cost you $300 or $400. It's just they're not messing around. This is for hardcore disposable income, living with your family, working a full-time job kind of fans, because who has that kind of money to throw away on physical media anymore? So it's pretty amazing. All right, so we have some fruit, and I may come back. I don't know. Think about some fruit. I don't like. So the schedule today is not great for not great for streaming. So I'm sorry, this is a little rushed and a little distracted, and my phone's going to be going off and all that fun stuff. But anyhow, let me get a little bit more into this. So yeah, so that is a big surprise, and I think something that people will find just about anywhere. You love Italian food, and you go to Italy, and you're like, wait a minute, real Italian food is different from my Olive Garden experiences, or whatever. And people aren't that ridiculous for the most part, but it's that sort of thing. You have to be conscious of how that's being filtered, and that's happening less and less. We're getting more direct access to things, and because that's also cheaper for the most part. A lot of companies are realizing the less they do to kind of localize things, the better. Game companies just throwing some subtitles on a Japanese game, and the same with animation or whatever. If you can just throw subtitles on and not pay for the production to dub it, then that saves a lot of money. So we're getting a lot more of that. But yeah, and it's also, I think it was also just the generational thing. I think we're Japan is in the next generation of anime, and it's pretty horrible. So there's just nothing to for me to relate to, and none of it really speaks to that the original thing that I liked about it, the original kind of fan appeal that it had for me. But so that combination of things, I think a lot of things have been like that, a weird combination of aging and then a change in circumstance, and then you realize, I'm not such a fan, or not such a that's not such a great thing for me. This is too big. But yeah, that just keeps happening. Yeah, but the food definitely wasn't a disappointment. That's the one thing about Japan that's never been disappointing. The quality of the food and the things you can't get outside of Japan are amazing. But yeah, the pop culture is very funny, and I think with a lot of that is kind of due to Japan's economic stagnation. They've kind of started pandering in a lot of ways to kind of the guaranteed money, the safe bets, the kind of mentally ill. You see that with the idol groups and things like the AKB48, however many there are. They're just taking advantage of the mentally ill to sell CDs and host handshaking events. Yikes. But yeah, so it's a very different thing. But keep talking. I thought that might be an interesting topic, and a lot of people may not be familiar with that, so it might be something to consider, because I have a friend that does interviews for an English company that said, that's the default response. Why do you want to come to Japan? Oh, because I love manga and anime. and I guess if they're young enough, maybe they can enjoy what's being produced here currently, but not me. And so the funny thing is, like the Amazon Prime here, the Amazon Video streaming thing and everything, they have some really old 60s and 70s TV shows and things from Japan, and that is the stuff that I came to Japan for. If it was still like 1975 in Japan, I would really love being here, because that's the stuff that I think of, that the very retro, very silly, wonky Japanese stuff is great. But it's not like that any longer. Oh, I just whacked this all up. Yeah, so it's very funny. That was and I've heard other foreigners, kind of have that same reaction. It's like, wow, if I really thought it would be great to be close to the source, and with some pop culture, close to the source is not necessarily a good thing. Yeah, so that was a bit surprising. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that stroke trick on this because it looks like a totally different thing now. Apologies for subjecting you to this. Something like that. It's a little better. See? Yeah, so if I overscale stuff, sometimes you can kind of re-thicken it. You know, you lose some of the subtlety of the line, but sometimes, you know, in these sorts of situations, it's not that subtle. Yeah, maybe I want something. Let's see here. Let's fill this and yeah, change this composition a little bit. Yes, so some disappointment. Actually, maybe no lid and just give him kind of a lonelier situation. That might be better. Okay, let's do that. Okay, and what are we doing with this fruit? That's a huge apple. Yeah, let me try that with this as well. Yeah, so when you have simple things, you can kind of take advantage of that. Yeah, see, that gives me a little bit more consistency in my line. Yeah, fruit. I'm always making the same jokes with fruit, and that's a terrible pineapple. So I might want to try something else. Oh, these are on the same layer, I guess. I didn't know that. Oops. What? Great. Where is this? This is here. So why am I trying to put it on another layer? Yeah, okay. It was fine. Fun. Okay. Size this up a little bit. And same with these guys. There we go. Okay, so talking about fruit taking sides. Find a nice orange color. Oh. Use all layers. That would be a nice thing to do. Okay. And a yellow. Kind of that same ballpark, but then the banana yellow, a little greener. Oh yeah, and a little, yeah, yeah, I guess close to green. Red apple. Okay. So I'm talking about things that nobody can see. That's always a bad thing to be doing. Okay, but I'm just coloring fruit fruit color. The fruit-colored fruit. And just a lighter version of this. So maybe this, and that, and then even, or actually I'll just go white. Put a line for the Rhine along here. Okay. Great. And now a little bit of shadow. Yes, so that's, yeah, that was the only thing that kind of was, I thought might be interesting to talk about, and I thought I might have more to say, but I guess that's it. Yeah, so I would be curious of other people's experiences that way, whether it's just a case of bad timing, or, you know, things like the industry changed enough that they weren't making things for me anymore, which I think is most likely the case. I think that's the my bad timing had a lot to do with the fact that I'm kind of aging out of, you know, really being able to enjoy a lot of the, I don't know though, because I see some pretty aged fans here. So I don't know. I can't tell what's true anymore. But yeah, I think it's always part of it. And it's hard because, you know, we haven't quite had a lot of these things happen yet, like passing, you know, generations kind of passing out of the popular culture. That hasn't happened. That's happened maybe only once so far. So now that, you know, media is even more, you know, complicated, and now being very specific, you know, people are having very specific fandoms and things. It's going to be interesting as this happens more and more, how people respond. There we are. There's some segregated fruit. Ugh, don't want to do that. But yeah, something about the idea of, you know, citrus being hard to get along with. All right. A banana-like smile. Okay. So, let's see how we're doing here. Okay. It's always difficult to get along with. With which to get along. Citrus was always difficult in social situations. I just want to write this down so I don't forget kind of what that idea was. We'll be writing more later, so we'll finish that up later. And on to the ice cream. Yeah, and I guess I will go for the color that I've been looking at for the past few hours. All right, a little preview of what's to come. I'm out of frame. Okay. Yeah, I need to get my schedule worked out. This is not ideal. I'm always gonna have weird distraction, and I don't want that to be part of the stream. I don't think anybody's enjoying me texting and not saying anything. So we'll get it worked out and figure out when and how is the best time and place to do all of this. Little bits. Oh, too big. Little bits. Okay, something along those lines. And we still have the color, so I want to put the paper white around the lip of this. And maybe also give it some differentiation in the packaging. So yeah, I still can't quite figure out if streaming, doing this in streaming is a good thing, because I think that the subject always comes up, especially more recently, about the creator. I don't want to use the artist word, but artist, the artist and the art, separating the creator from the creation and your opinion of them. So even if you turn a book around and see what the writer looks like, sometimes you're like, ugh. It kind of colors your kind of reactions to their work, because, oh, he's that kind of guy. I mean, it's amazing that Stephen King was as prolific and successful as he was with that mug on him. Maybe he just found a good photographer to do his author photos. But what I'm saying is that that you suddenly have an opinion about someone just based on, oh, that's what they look like. And we're having a lot more of that recently, judging people. And it's more like, their social media presence and stuff that people are being criticized for. But yeah, so it's, I think we're beyond appearance. So that was a kind of a stupid analogy, but yeah, I think we are at that time where a lot of people are considering that, can I really like this guy because he, said this about the environment or something, whatever your issue is, and, not accepting or not wanting to accept people's, works of fiction and whatever because of where that kind of came from. So I don't know. Yeah, it's strange because, I love Dune. I remember reading, Frank Herbert's Dune and enjoying the David Lynch movie and all of that good stuff when I was younger, and then hearing interviews later on with Frank Herbert, and he's sounds like quite an environmentalist and everything, and I didn't really react or was attracted to any part of that in his science fiction work, but I guess it was there. I guess a lot of his inspiration came from things he had seen related to kind of ecological and things in, I guess, California, Central California, wherever he is or was. But so I don't know. I don't think I have those same sorts of difficulties. I don't think I read, if I know a book is written by a woman as opposed to or a man, I don't think I react differently or expect things to be different because of that. So I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. I don't really have a much of a maybe here much to go on this week. Oh, and the trick of the finding the eyes amongst all of the chocolate chips. Good luck with that. Okay, so that's the coloring of these two guys. So I guess it's time for, Ugh, my phone could be ringing anytime. The convenience store segment. Oh my god. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a couple of funny bread things. So there's always a section, kind of like a baked goods section in the convenience store. And in that section, one of the ever-present things is the... I guess snack pack? Yeah. I think that's what they're calling it. Yeah, lunch pack. Sorry, not snack pack. Lunch pack. Okay, so the ever-present Yamazaki lunch pack, right? So what is this? Like, you'll see these in many, many flavors, and even if you can't read what's going on, you can get an idea from the little cartoon in the corner. And there's the price. A little cartoon in the corner of what's actually inside, and some of it gets pretty crazy. They do some pretty odd flavors. So what is a snack pack? It's kind of the size of a little white bread sandwich, right? A little Wonder Bread sandwich from a lunch, and that's exactly what it is. And I remember it being easier to open. So if you look, it is just 2 pieces of white bread that have the crust cut off and are sealed. So there's a little peanut mark on there I guess, because people do have peanut allergies, and it's just filled with something. So sometimes jam and whipped cream, and sometimes jelly, and then it gets into meat and eggs and all kinds of things. So it goes from sweet to savory. But all of those kids that didn't eat their crusts, when I was a kid, this is a dream snack for them. It's literally just white bread pouch with something in the middle. So these are everywhere. Every convenience store has these. And the what's inside is never amazing. This is incredibly sweet peanut butter. It's kind of light whipped peanut butter. But you'll see these everywhere. So everywhere you see the lunch pack, you have a selection, and it's always a little bit different. Peanut butter is almost always there, but it's always a little bit different. Egg salad, or I should have kind of taken a quick inventory, but it's a crazy, variety of flavors, and you never kind of see the same thing twice. Sometimes just like honey and butter, or just a lot of things, but things that you would put on white bread, I guess. Makes sense. And it's it's easy to handle because it's sealed up, so you don't have it's not going to drip out the side or anything, because you've got a little sealed pillow. But it is a little synthetic and a little too perfect, so it's very machine made. And I think the company that does that is one of the few companies in Japan that they use a lot of preservatives and things in their food, so it lasts a bit longer. So peanut butter sandwich, no all hands free. All right. And then again, it goes in trends. I mean, a lot of the things are very trendy, or you'll have a flavor more in everything, like blueberry or strawberry or everything. And it's not really even seasonal food or whatever. They'll just try a new combination of flavors or something, and that'll become the thing. And recently, chocolate mint, and that's kind of the inspiration for the ice cream drawing. Chocolate mint has become the flavor. So you can get the Japanese melon pan. Oh, that would have been a standard good thing. I don't want to eat that, but that's a standard good thing to show. A bread, a big melon flavored bread. But this is kind of a cream puff. This is kind of the choux cream style puff that they do. And so you can see inside. So it's got chocolate on the outside, and it's a little kind of cream puff. And then inside is mint chocolate cream. Everything now is mint and chocolate in Japan. This snacks and candy and gum. I don't think no drinks yet, but maybe some, kind of shakes or something. But yeah, for some reason now everything is mint chocolate chip. Yeah, mint chip. Choco mint, I guess they call it choco mint. Yeah, but it's like, mint chocolate chip ice cream. And it's everywhere. So even inside your kind of cream puff, you will have mint and chocolate cream. So yeah, very trendy thing. So as I see a trend, maybe I'll have that on this segment. This is the new thing. Now it's lemon, or now it's whatever, and it'll kind of date this, but it'll be funny to go back and see how many different trends there have been. Another big trend, and I think it was brought up. If you are following any of this, you know about the Coca-Cola Clear. So there's a clear Diet Coke here, and that kind of followed a trend of everything being clear. They made iced tea and lattes and everything that just look like water. So they have the flavor of that certain drink, but they just look like water. So remember your lunch packs and the popular flavor. So you may come to Japan at a time when the big flavor that they're pushing is something that you absolutely hate. And so you're just going to have to find it everywhere and deal with it. So hopefully you'll get lucky. I'm a choco mint fan, so it works out okay that this is a thing now. But yeah, the snacks are very trendy. And if you like something, the only thing for certain is that it will go away very soon. Everything is so limited here. So that's the konbini section. Let's get back to the writing section, and I'll finish a little bit of this. All right. So I'll get better at that. But it's hard to get inspired in convenience stores because I can't look at it very objectively to think about what would people that don't go into these stupid things every day, find interesting, or what would stand out. Oh, chewing on the microphone. Apologies. So I'll lean back. All right. So I've got a little bit of writing. So let's take a look at these fellers. So I was thinking he expected to be part of a grand Sunday, instead just melting alone sounds sad. Instead of just melting alone. He expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting alone. He had expected, because it's changed, he had expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting alone. Am I shifting? Yeah, I guess that's... He expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting alone. I don't know. On the counter. Yeah, we'll think about that. Oh, and this one is kind of pre-written, right? Citrus was always difficult in social situations. Yeah, I think that's still... I don't think there's anything to go beyond that. I think simple is better with that kind of stupid idea. Citrus is always difficult in social situations. Citrus fruit. Fruity situations. Yeah, I think that works. So a little bit short today. Yeah, and that's just because of time constraints, so apologies for that. But, okay. He'd expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting alone. Melting on the counter alone? So just melting on the counter alone. Expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting on the counter alone. Yeah, I think that's a little more long-winded, but a little more detailed. Okay, so here is the abuse for this week. Citrus was always difficult in social situations, and the chocolate chip mint choco mint. He had expected to be part of a grand Sunday instead of just melting on the counter alone. All right, I think we got the sadness of that one. So it's a little bit quick one this week, but yeah, we'll if you need some more, please take a look at the archives. So this is archived, of course, on Twitch and YouTube, and I hope it's working on Twitch again because I had to reset my key and stuff, and something happened with my account. Yay. And thank you for watching. And if you would like to become a patron and support this cartoon, there are wonderful things like the first collection of the best of the first 1,000 domestic abuse, as well as things like original art and wonderful things that can be sent to you and drawn and signed and all of that good stuff. So please consider supporting this cartoon at patreon.com/abusecartoons and the website abusecartoons.com, as well as follow me on Twitter and Instagram is not specifically this cartoon, but it'll be up there occasionally, and you can see what other things I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week. Goodbye.